The Unhappy Hour on the new AmericanMedia.com.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. It's Brian Engelman. You're listening to The Unhappy Hour here on thenewamericanmedia.com. Make sure you subscribe, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Follow Zach. He's on Twitter at @ZBaris. That's ZBARIS. We are at American_media_. Hit thenewamericanmedia.com and sign up on our Facebook page. All that jazz. Good times, good times. We're going to split today's show up, hence the little intro, outro, midpoint marker that you just heard. We talked about the Cleveland Browns already. Now it's time to talk about those Cleveland Cavaliers. They had a statement win against the Warriors, and then they've had a pretty good week, and they are playing the Atlanta Hawks today. We are with Zak Baris, lifelong Cleveland sports fan, former NBA scout, current NBA consultant. Zach, what are we looking at with these Cavs? What have you seen over the past week or so?
I mean, like I said, I've been impressed with them. Even though they lost 2 games and they almost blew it the other night against Toronto, this is still the team to beat. I mean, Atlanta's a very, very good team. And, I mean, I'm shocked the Cavaliers are favored by 1.5 tonight over the Hawks.
At the Hawks' home arena.
And yeah, that's the thing. It's in Atlanta, and they're 48-12. I think people are selling the Hawks short. I really do. I think the Hawks are a very good team. But, like I said, the Cavaliers come in there tonight and blow them away by 20 on their own floor. I don't know who's going to beat the Cavs. I really don't. Right now in the East, I see it being very tough for any of these teams to get past them. I think Cleveland beat Toronto in 4 or 5. I think they beat the Bulls in 4 or 5. I think they beat the Wizards in 4 at this point. You know, the Hawks are the last team where these teams have really, since the Hawks have been great and the Cavaliers have been playing great, you know, this is the first time they're clashing. So it'll be interesting to see tonight what happens.
Yeah, that's the thing about a season, especially in a game like basketball or even baseball. You know, as the team gels and gets to know each other and a couple trades are made and the dynamics change. You know, I mean, you can't really compare the Dion Waiters version of the Cavs to the Timothy Mozgov version of the Cavs.
And Dion Waiters is still terrible.
Okay, listen.
Okay, I won't even get into Dion Waiters. We talk about Dion every show.
Hold on. I got to bring up, because my buddy Greg, he's been on the program before, he wanted to ask you, Zach, do you have a Dion Waiters fat head in your bedroom?
No, I've hated Dion Waiters since he was doing his training in Las Vegas for the NBA draft. Like I said, you will never forget what I said the night the Cavaliers drafted him. I would urge you to pull up that clip if you could ever find it to do that post-draft show a couple of years ago when the Cavaliers selected Dion Waiters.
Hey, you know what? Let's ask who are some of our staunch listeners. We'll ask Greg. We'll ask UFC is MMA. We'll ask whoever, because we're getting a few more of you that are starting to leave consistent every single day commentary on these posts. Find the episode that he's talking about, and I'll try to link it.
It was the night of the NBA draft, the night Dion Waiters was drafted, or the day after.
It was the show.
Right,
it was the show that we did on the Unhappy Hour, right around and to discuss the NBA draft when the Cavs took Dion Waiters. Whatever episode that was. Yeah, I mean, we're talking, I don't know, 3 years ago. How long? 2.5 years? I don't know, whatever. Okay, so look at the team. How is this team different without Dion Waiters and with Mozgov, Shumpert, J.R. Smith, Kendrick Perkins?
Well, you brought in 2 guys on the perimeter who replaced Dion Waiters who can actually defend the basketball. And J.R. Smith has been fantastic on the defensive end. So is Shumpert. And both of them have been a delight on the offensive end, too. So they've both been great. So that secured your terrible perimeter defense. And suddenly you get a center to guard the interior. And what do you know? Magically, the Cavaliers went from being like the worst team in the league to being right in the middle of the pack.
What a good trade for both of them. What good trades for both of them?
You know what? Here's the thing. If you look at all these teams in this trade, Cleveland won when they got Mozgov because, they surrendered 2 first-round picks, but they got a guy and now they've got a chance for the title. Without Mozgov, they had no chance. Denver got 2 first-round picks out of it and potentially, pretty good ones too. So Denver's sleeping because Denver's in complete rebuild mode right now. Okay? Look it up from Oklahoma City's point. Oklahoma City didn't really win that trade because I think Dion Waiters isn't doing anything good there. He's been terrible. He's really been awful there. But Oklahoma City got the player they wanted and they gave up a first-round pick to get him, which I think was a bad trade. But they did what they did.
And the way that you really gauge trades is a couple years down the road. You know, when you trade a CC Sabathia or a Cliff Lee, it takes a while for projects and draft picks.
Here's the thing, though. If the Cavaliers win the title this year, it's all said and done. It's over. The Cavaliers won their portion of the trade. That's what matters. Teams can win different trades at different times. I mean, if you go take a look back in 2002 when the Indians traded Bartolo Colon. At the time, the Indians got a bunch of T-ball prospects. But down the road, Cliff Lee was an all-star. Grady Sizemore was an all-star. Yeah, they traded Brandon Phillips away, but Brandon Phillips wound up being an all-star. They got 3 all-stars out of that trade.
Yeah, and if you got to lose somebody anyway, you might as well get something back, unlike the Cavs last time.
Exactly. So, the Cavaliers this time, they traded Andrew Wiggins. Big deal. They traded Wiggins. They got another great player in Love who spaces the floor so well. He's been a nice fit with this team. Whether people think it or not, I don't really care. If you know basketball, then you'd agree with me. If you don't, then fine. Disagree with me and talk about how much you're on Wiggins' nuts. But, it is what it is right there.
And we have a few regular listeners that feel that way, that are...
Wiggins could be an all-star as early as next season. He can. But as a fit, and with LeBron James getting up there in age with his team, you want to win now. You got a 26-year-old in Kevin Love, who, don't forget, last year that Minnesota team won over 40 games. This year they're virtually the same team. They even improved it with Mo Williams, who's been killing it in Charlotte, by the way. They improved it with Mo Williams. You got Thaddeus Young. You had all these guys, and yet they still only have like 11 or 12 wins. Kevin Love meant that much to this team. He's a third option on this team. It's the same thing when people were calling Bosh a bust in Miami his first year.
Well, not a bust, but is he a max contract player?
He's a max contract player, yes.
It's just weird to think that guy is as valuable as LeBron. That just doesn't make sense.
The thing is, it's only so much. Joe Johnson is a max player. Don't forget that.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I guess you sign a bad deal, you sign a bad deal. It's just they're on a different level.
I throw a max deal at Kevin Love after the season. The Cavaliers aren't that great without him. When he doesn't play, they don't win.
Well, the Bulls game, that was a weird one, of course. But let's think about what the problem is with Kevin Love. It's not that he's not a great player and that he's not spacing the floor wonderfully, which he has been. It's more, is he going to sign that deal next year? Of course, we're not even there yet, but it's one of those, oh, God, we can't even get this off of our plate and not stop worrying about it until next year when it happens. He will.
I'm not too worried about it. He will, so I wouldn't even bring up the panic button yet.
No, it's on the back of the minds of everybody that watched Carlos Boozer bamboozle the Cavs and maybe cost us a chance at a championship back in the day when Boozer was a badass. We've been spurned
yeah, I get where you're
before.
Coming from.
Yeah,
but,
so
like I said, you got to live in the now, and right now the Cavaliers are competing for a ship.
Who's MVP? Let's keep discussing this. What do you think of Westbrook and Harden? Is it Westbrook, Harden, Curry, or James? Is that all we're down to?
I'd go with Steph Curry, LeBron. And what LeBron did to the Warriors last week. LeBron played a crappy game in Houston. They still almost won, and Harden should have been ejected from that game. Not saying it's a Cleveland homer. I'm saying Harden should have been ejected. LeBron did that to Harden. He should have been ejected.
You kick someone in the
Matt
junk.
Barnes even said if Matt Barnes did, he would have been kicked out of the league.
Well, I guess if Dennis Rodman or Panda Friend, what's his name? Ron Artest. I guess once you develop a like the Ndamukong Suh syndrome, where you're known as a dirty player, so everything's under more scrutiny. But yeah, it was a punk move for Harden to kick at a man's groin. It's just it was very weak.
It was, and it's I think it was a childish move on Harden's part.
Did you see the Hassan Whiteside rumble the other day? What did you think of that?
I did. It was whatever. People get in skirmishes all the time.
Yeah, I guess. LeBron's just been getting his ass kicked though, and
teams are trying to, because people know right now you're not going to beat the Cavs on any given night. You're just not going to. The Cavaliers are too good right now to go down.
Well, got the Hawks tonight. What is it? And then we're going to Texas, right? We got a couple tough games coming up. This will be good.
Yep.
This will be good. It's a wonderful time, everybody. Pay attention to this Cavaliers team. They've kind of turned into the Globetrotters.
By the way, I gotta say I love the Hawks uniforms tonight.
You love them?
If you're watching the I just love those old school uniforms. So they're really cool.
Well, yeah. What are we going to learn if the Hawks win? What are we going to learn if the Cavs win? What's that going to show?
I don't know if you're going to learn much tonight. If Cleveland wins in Atlanta tonight, Atlanta's beating them right now. So I mean, they're up 7, but make it 10. But, Atlanta's beating them right now, and they look really good. But, let's see what happens at the end of the game. I don't know if it really says much from either side. If the Cavs can't beat them in Atlanta, then it shows, okay, Cleveland can win on the road. They can beat Atlanta. They can beat the best team in the Eastern Conference.
All right.
But they're playing really poorly right now, and they're getting dominated by 10.
Hooray. Well, luckily, it's still the first quarter. All right, then let's pause right here. Where do we go from here, Zach? We want to talk some Tribe or some NCAA basketball?
I'd rather talk some Indians right now.
All right, fair enough.
I'm very psyched for baseball season.
Yeah.
I say we do our NCAA preview show after the tournaments, in a week or so. That's when I'd prefer to do it.
Okay, once a little bit more is rounded out and we have something concrete to talk about. All right, then let's do this. We'll pause, take a station identification break here on the TNAM radio network. Make sure you're following Zach on Twitter. He's at ZBaris. That's ZBARIS on Twitter. We're at American_media_. Check out our hub, thenewamericanmedia.com. Subscribe, youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia, and do a search for The New American Media with spaces in between on Facebook and like the page. We'll be back talking Cleveland Indians with lifelong Cleveland sports fan, current NBA consultant Zak Baris. Thank you.
The Unhappy Hour on the new AmericanMedia.com.
And this is John B. Wells reminding you that not only is Brian Engelman a cool guy, and not only is the new AmericanMedia.com a very cool platform, but here's a cool idea for you, too. Are you alone? Not really. Do you like dogs? Do you like cats? You do. Of course you do. Everybody does. One or the other, maybe even both. There are a lot of dogs and cats that are at shelters right now, and if somebody doesn't take them home, they're going to wind up euthanized. That's a nice way of saying they're going to be killed because there's simply not enough room. I guarantee it, the best dogs and the best cats, the best pets come from shelters. There's something about dogs and cats. They know. They know where they are. You walk through one of them, and certainly at least one is going to look at you and go, I wish you'd take me home. I'm in hell. Please take me out of here. It'll be the best thing that you ever did for your soul. You'll feel good about it. And not only that, but you have a friend for life. Doesn't matter if you got money, you don't have money. Well, it doesn't make any difference to a dog or cat. All they need is the sound of your voice and maybe even the stroke of your hand, and they're fine. Maybe a little food every once in a while. The sweetest sound that those pets ever hear is your voice. Think it over and adopt a cat or a dog from a local shelter today. I'm telling you, you'll be glad you did.